Hey everybody, my name is Blaydes and I go to church here at Trinity, and today I'll be sharing from Luke 24. So, Luke 24 is the last chapter in the book of Luke, and it occurs 3 days after Jesus' crucifixion. And we all know what happens on this day, so let's talk about it. So at the beginning of this chapter, the women are visiting Jesus' tomb to give some spices that they had prepared. But once they got to the tomb, they obviously realized that the tomb was empty. So from there, 2 angels had appeared to them and said, "He isn't here, he is risen from the dead. Remember what he told you back in Galilee." So from there, the women rushed back to tell the disciples what had happened, but the disciples didn't believe them. They were like, "Their words sound like nonsense and I don't believe it." So Peter rushed back to the tomb and realized that they were right, that Jesus had risen from the dead. But he still walked back wondering what had happened. So after this, 2 of Jesus' followers were walking from Jerusalem to Emmaus, and Jesus had actually appeared to them 2 times. The first time, they did not realize that it was Jesus, and he was just asking them, "Why are you doubting?" He said, "You foolish people, you find it so hard to believe that all the prophets wrote in the scriptures. Wasn't it clearly predicted that the Messiah would have to suffer all of these things before entering his glory?" So they were just doubting, and Jesus was asking them why he was doubting. And then the second time that Jesus appeared to them, he showed himself to them and showed that "I am Jesus, I am risen from the dead." And he said, "I told you that everything written about me in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms must be fulfilled." And he explained to them that the reason that he had to be crucified and rise from the dead was because their sins had to be forgiven. And because he has risen from the dead, there's forgiveness of sins for all who repent. So what I get from this chapter is the importance of trusting Jesus and his plan. So Jesus had laid out everything that was to happen to him, how he would be crucified and how he would rise 3 days later, but the disciples still doubted that that would happen. And in our lives, we all have doubts and what about our future and what there is to come, but we know that Jesus has a plan for our lives. And just as it worked out in this story, how his death resulted in resurrection and the forgiveness of sins for all who repent, anything we worry about in our life has a plan and a purpose in God's plan for us. So I just pray that when we doubt, as we always do, we can remember that God has a plan for our lives and that we can have faith in his plan. So thanks for listening to my message, and I hope everyone will come out to our Easter service tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. We're doing a combined service.